Hello everyone, I hope you guys had an amazing week and are looking forward to the weekend. I am here to share with you another project for Decorate Your Life using her So Much Fun April release paper collection. Now this paper collection is available in paper pack where you can have it printed and mailed, or you can purchase it as a digital or do both. So I have, using this paper collection, I actually did my 3D sewing machine. So if you haven't seen that video, I will have it on the end screen for you. I invite you to go check it out. Let me know what you think. I did share some projects using her small paper packs. Now these are only available in printed form. This is Tasty Treats, that's 5 by 5. This is Pink and White Roses, which is 5 3/8 by 5 3/8. I will tell you that the Tasty Treats is double-sided, so you get a print on both sides. And then her roses background. And I also released that video last week, so if you missed it, it'll also be on the end screen, as well as all the other projects, the playlist for all the other projects that I have created for Sandi. My discount code is Dalia15. It'll save you 15% off of your purchase, even if it's on sale. In my description box, you will find all the links to everything that I have been using with her April release, direct links to her website, and my coupon code is good on her Etsy shop as well as her .com shop. So wherever you feel comfortable shopping, feel free to use my discount code. So without further ado, I loved how my sewing machine came out, but I still had a lot of paper left. So I decided to go and do a journal. I have never done a sewing themed journal. Maybe this is my second attempt at a Shabby Chic project, meaning journal wise. I did do an album, but I just had to do a journal, and I had to do it distressed, vintagey, really well loved. So without further ado, here she is. Now she measures 9 by 6 with a 1.5 inch spine. This is lace from my stash. This material I also had in my stash, and I've been hoarding it. And this project was perfect for it. Some doilies from my stash. I had these word veneers, wood veneers that I heat embossed in gold, as well as these hearts, this butterfly. This big rose was in my stash. These are some flat backs also from my stash, and buttons. Just had to add buttons, and I love how it turned out. It says sparkle. I did do sewing details along the edges. This is a semi-soft cover binding. So what I did do was I used a sheet of paper to give me the sizing that I wanted. So it was 9 by 1.5 by 6, and then I took felt and glued it on all sides of the cardboard or the cardstock, and then I layered in my material. So it gave me the form that I wanted, plus it also gave me something to, as a guide to create my cover. And then what I did was I sewed where it came off, so it's in there and it's closed. Satin ribbon from my stash. This is the back. Love how she turned out. And then when you open her, she has 2 signatures. She did get a little chunky on me, but I still love her dearly. And I wanted a bit of overhang. So more lace from my stash that I used some alcohol ink sprays, and then that's what you see hanging off the bottom. That's how I created my pockets, and I went straight across, so it goes from the front to the back. And then large tags. And then in here, I found in my stash, it says sewing planner, this journal belongs to. And I printed it on tea stain paper and inked the edges. So I thought that was a nice little touch. There are some sewing details on the pages. I was having some fun testing out different stitching, so you're going to see that. So all the lace and all the trims are pretty much sewn on. So in the first signature, I had to add gold. If that didn't give you a hint on the cover, I just had to. So had this die in my stash, loved it, made it into a belly band, did some fussy cuts out of the collection with a little cluster, and I had this in my ephemera that says vintage sewing. And then I also found this, which is like a sheet of paper that says sewing project. Love that it's misspelled. I didn't create it. I don't know where I found it, but I had it. And printed this on some more tea stain paper, and that's the pages that I used throughout. I had this very intricate fabric that I just cut pieces out of and used that to add some extra textures. I had some gold bobby safety pins, and these are these small dangles that I created a video for. So if you're interested, it'll be in my end screen. So there is my little dangle. Some packing material. Here is another pocket that I created out of my scraps and did that. Large tags, some of the ephemera from her fussy cut pages. And these were actually the whale tail tabs that I punched out on a scrap busting session. And that's actually from my little princess, and it matches perfectly. The colors are great. You would never know. Maybe Sandy would, but the rest of us wouldn't. I had this heart brad in my stash, and I used this like little nesting tag die and use some of the word fussy cuts in there. I had some ephemera, some sewing notions ephemera in my stash. Flower from the design paper. I had a thimble. I think it was a thimble, a button, and some scissors. Cutting dies from my stash that I pulled out, and I had never used them until now. I did add some doilies, and then another ephemera from my stash with some messy thread. This interesting thing here, this ruffle, is actually material. I don't know if you can see, but it is the material that when you buy a new mattress, what protects your mattress for shipping so it won't get dirty. It was a huge piece, and I just could not throw it away. So I've been cutting them into long strips, and I create these ruffles that I dye them first, and then I create the ruffles. And yeah, I'm chipping away slowly at it. So I had to add some here. Some music page, another die from my stash, addressing the fussy cut, the scraps. Here is a tag that I had, a base that I had in my stash again. Those whale tail tabs. I also did have some dies that look like little binder clips and stuff. So I had them pre-cut. So I decided to use them because this reminded me of something that you might clip up somewhere. And it says, Creative Minds at Work. Cute little tag there. And I love the hints of gold. Here we have a flip out of a library pocket with a clear window. This is an upcycled envelope. Some more of that trim that I like to cut out and create like little appliques. Another one of the whale tail tabs. And here I have another tag from the collection, and then lightly decorated there. These are 2 envelopes that I put together, and this is the center of this signature, and you took out one of my stencils and just decorated it like that for contrast. And then these do come out, but I think I made them bigger than what they needed to be because they are a little fussy, but they do come out. And maybe now I can't get it out, but they do come out. Here we go. So I think I'm going to cut these down just a little bit, just to make them a little easier, because this is the center. And but I just love them there. And then here we go. Or I might just glue them down and then leave these open for you to be able to put some stuff in. Here's another one of those ruffles that I created, and then a scrap of a die cut of a doily. Here, this is new to me, using some of my basic shapes and creating different types of pockets. So here is one that I already had die cut. So more of my sewing ephemera. Here goes the scissors. Here goes the other piece of that doily. And then we have this tag here. And I love how that curtain turned out. Okay, the other half of that music page. And then another pocket. And then these I shared in a collab. And these are little Polaroids with vellum. And this one says Styles of 1900. And I thought it was appropriate to, with the theme. The other half of that doily. And then, of course, I stenciled on this one. And then another ephemera from my stash. Here's another piece of that same lace that I love to cut out these pieces and use them as appliques. Pocket with the tag. Here's the other side of that paper, packing material. I folded it into a side tuck and used another one of those. Sorry about that. Oh my gosh, it looks like I'm popular today. Another one of those Polaroids with the vintage sewing machine. Excuse me. A thimble, and then I added these two little tickets in the back from my stash that I thought went well. And then here's a large journaling card, another die from my stash. I've been addressing a lot of my white paper scraps, my cardstock in white, and then using my inks to kind of change the color. And I really do love that because I do have a lot of white scraps. Another one of the fussy cuts. Crafting is my therapy. And then this slides in this pocket. Lots of writing space. Here is another one of those fabrics, and I glued some buttons down with another safety pin, another one of my little mini dangles. And then this is a stacked pocket here using the collection, very basic pockets, and then two journaling tags. You don't have to decorate much with Sandi's paper, and of course I stitched this one because I used this lace for this signature cover. This is the front one, and then this is the back one. I did add charms at the bottom in gold. I have a heart and I have a filigree in the first signature, and in the second signature I have a crown and just like a diamond shape. Use this trim with the roses. I thought that was very pretty. Little side pocket here with another one of those book page tags. Used the offcuts of when I trimmed down the belly band. Some more of my ephemera. This is from the kit, Shabbylicious and Sewing, from the words and the ephemera that comes with the So Much Fun collection. Writing space, writing space. Another stock pocket. This one I did a tag with a vintage sewing machine, and then a journaling card with some of the ephemera from my stash that says Sewing Stories and a vintage sewing machine. So this one goes here. And this one goes here. Here is a doily. Here I put scrapbooking, stamping, die cuts. Paper from the collection. Here's another small pocket with another one of those appliques. And then on this one, I put this Polaroid with the vintage sewing machine. Ooh, I want to make sure it's stuck. That's the back. And I'm not sure if Sandi has the glue that I use to create my... I'm actually really enjoying that glue. I'm not sure if she has it available in her shop, but she did gift us the design team one. For one of our design team kits, and I absolutely love it. So here, again, pulling out shapes, basic shapes from my stash and addressing the white cardstock scraps. I created this little side tuck here. Some more die cuts that I already had pre-done. This is part of the ephemera. It says bucket list. Again, part of the ephemera, says Crafters Anonymous. The collection, pulling out the white die cuts that I had and using, this time, some pink. And I think that came out really cute, just sitting right there. Some manuscript paper, more of the collection. Here is a side tuck with a beautiful image from her collection. I didn't have to decorate anything there. That looked absolutely gorgeous. This is an envelope that I made using one of my dies, and then have these little cards in here that says 75 years and item number 222. So that just sits over the page. And I might, as a matter of fact, while I'm there, I'm gonna pull out one of these gold paper clips that I absolutely love, and these have little hearts on them, and I think that fits better. That silver just doesn't fit. So there you go, and it has a little heart there. Another one of the appliques for interest. More of that packing material. This one I made into 2 pockets in the center. Here's another one of the Polaroid ephemeras with a button die cut. And then here's a large tag, and then a little mini file folder where they can write what they want to write inside. On this one, I dangled another one of my mini dangles on a gold safety pin, and I think it looks pretty there. Added some more of that ruffle here. Here goes that belly band. And then again, using my basic die cuts and some distress ink. And it says my 7-step program, and I can write all about it back here. So there goes that. More manuscript paper, another side tuck with another large tag. Here I put another one of those scissors, another one of the ephemera from the collection, and it says put it in the cart. Super cute. Sorry about the sirens. Here is another side tuck. This time I went this way. I had another die that does these mini tags, and I decided to flip it upside down and create a little tuck on the top with some more tickets from my stash, a banner, and the ephemera that says sewing. And then this is the card that sits behind that. Didn't have to decorate much because that makes it decorative by itself. Another one from the material that I like to cut apart. This time I used half of a doily, scrapbooking, stamping, and die cuts. Used that there and made this into a tuck. Here's the other half of that doily. There goes that tag, and then just made a quick little cluster there. This is a material belly band, and this is really originally very, very stark white, like this. And I use my alcohol inks to age it up a bit, and then put this beautiful collaged image from the collection behind it, and didn't have to do anything else because it looks beautiful just like that. The other half of the paper. Here's the back of the second signature. Another card with a dress form. This is from the collection. This was from my stash, and that's from the collection. It says because it's pink, and I made sure she had a pink dress. And then this one is stitched with this material, with this. So that's the one that's in the front, and that's the one that's on the back. Back pocket with another one of those large tags. And there she is, my so much fun journal. She will be in my Etsy shop and my Ko-fi shop. She will be up for sale. You can find her definitely in my Ko-fi shop. You guys know I price my journals to sell with free shipping. Not looking to make a profit, just looking to re-up my supplies like paper and ink. All right, everyone. There she is. Let me know what you think. As always, I look forward to your comments. Thank you for all the support, the thumbs up. Feel free to share my video. As always, all the likes and comments affects the algorithm, and it helps other people find some kind of inspiration here, I hope. All right, everyone. Be sure to connect with Sandi. Check out my description box. Everything is linked down below. And have an amazing weekend. The weather is beautiful. Enjoy. And I'll talk to you at the next video. Take care now. Bye.